Hey there, curious minds. Today, we're diving into a topic that's once again making headlines and raising eyebrows. President Donald Trump's renewed suggestion that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't the first time he's floated the idea. But in a recent meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, Trump doubled down, calling the U.S. Canada border an artificial line, and once again raising the possibility of annexation.
When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
But before we get carried away, let's unpack this bold claim and explore the history behind the U.S. Canada border. The border between the United States and Canada is the longest undefended border in the world, stretching over 8,890 kilometers. Its origins date back to the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which ended the American Revolutionary War and established boundaries between the newly independent United States and British North America. However, ambiguities in the treaty led to disputes, culminating in the War of 1812. After the war, the Convention of 1818 was signed, setting the 49th parallel as the boundary from the Lake of the Woods to the Rocky Mountains. This straight-line boundary was chosen for its simplicity and ease of surveying. Further west, the Oregon Treaty of 1846 extended the 49th parallel boundary to the Pacific Ocean, solidifying much of the border we recognize today. Is the border truly artificial? President Trump's characterization of the border as an artificial line isn't entirely accurate. While it's true that the 49th parallel was selected through diplomatic negotiations rather than natural landmarks, the border has been recognized and respected for over 2 centuries. It represents not just a physical division, but also distinct political, legal, and cultural identities. Historians emphasize that dismissing the border as merely artificial overlooks its complex history and significance. Canada's firm stance. In response to Trump's suggestion, Prime Minister Mark Carney firmly stated that Canada is not for sale, and likened the country to iconic, unsellable properties like Buckingham Palace. He emphasized Canada's sovereignty and the importance of partnership over assimilation.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace, you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
Despite the lighthearted tone of some exchanges, Carney's message was clear. Canada values its independence and has no intention of becoming a U.S. state. What's behind Trump's proposal? While the idea of annexing Canada may seem far-fetched, even absurd to many, it's worth considering the broader context in which these statements are made. The United States and Canada, despite being close allies, have had their fair share of tensions in recent years. Trade disputes have flared up more than once, with the U.S. imposing tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and other goods under national security justifications. Canada has responded in kind, leading to tit-for-tat economic friction. These trade battles have often served as political talking points on both sides of the border. In that light, some analysts believe Trump's remarks are less about actual geopolitical intentions and more about creating pressure. By calling the border an artificial line and teasing the idea of Canada becoming a U.S. state, Trump could be trying to shake up diplomatic dynamics, injecting controversy to gain leverage in trade negotiations or to fire up his political base with bold, attention-grabbing statements. After all, Trump is no stranger to using shock value to dominate media cycles. Others argue that this rhetoric plays into a larger narrative Trump has often pushed, questioning the value of traditional alliances and suggesting that America's neighbors and partners owe it more. In trade, security, or alignment, in this case, it's not just about Canada, it's about reshaping America's role in the world on Trump's terms. But let's be clear, the U.S.-Canada border, with its rich history and deep significance, is far more than just an artificial line. It's the product of centuries of negotiation, conflict resolution, and mutual respect. It represents 2 distinct nations that have chosen cooperation over conflict and partnership over dominance. So while the idea of Canada becoming the 51st state might make for sensational headlines or spark fiery debates online, the reality is far different. Both countries fiercely value their independence, their unique national identities, and the long-standing partnership they've worked hard to build, one that's rooted not in annexation but in alliance. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through history and headlines. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more eye-opening stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's next.